We would meet up at his place, and his now wife would be inside, and we'd be out the back having a beer, and we'd be talking about all these plans, and we wouldn't tell her what we were talking about. She eventually got sick of it, and she's like, I know what you guys are up to. You're making gay porn. I know it.
Well, they actually weren't making that, but they have been making a truckload of money and having a great time doing it. 7 years ago, good mates Dale Smedley and Sean Trevelyan invested $1,000 each to create Golf Gods, a retail company that celebrates the quirky side of the game. Think Happy Gilmore, think Caddyshack, and you're on the right path. Golf Gods is a company that boasts that it's not your everyday golf brand. This is the story of two buddies that had a dream and have turned it into reality. Now, just a heads up, there is some colourful language and some adult themes in this episode, so use your discretion in case there's some little ears around. Right, strap yourselves in. These boys are absolute rippers. Welcome along to the Soda Room, a place where we get to know the real stories behind some of the biggest names in the game.
It was like we had won the grand final.
I just got some new boots. It was something special for me.
Did you understand the significance of that moment?
Oh,
as captain?
yeah. Nothing compared.
That's what I thought I had to do as a leader.
You got the same undies on.
I've got exactly the same ones on.
Well, this is it. The Golf Gods are in the building. Sean Trevelyan, Dale Smedley, gentlemen, welcome along.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now, I know about your reputation. I know you guys have done wonderful things and you've turned a great idea between mates into a multi-million-dollar business, but I know that everything's based on fun, isn't it, essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do has to have an element of fun in it, and I think that's why it's succeeded. It's, most people like to have fun and can relate to that, so that's what we base our business around.
Well, on that premise then, we want to have fun. I've organised some drinks for us.
Legends.
So
This is unusual.
Our friends at West End have ensured that we've got them. So we've got the retro West End cans. Boys, so we could just give them a little crack.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys. Great to have you in here. What better way to do a podcast than beers? Hang on, I'll just put the esky down here. Now, your story is remarkable. It's essentially, as we heard, two blokes put a bit of cash in, got sick of doing what they were doing, and just wanted to have some fun and create a new lifestyle. Is that how it's rolled out?
Pretty much. We always used to chat when we were tradies that we wanted to start a business together. We had no idea what that was, and we would just come around after work and have a few beers and chat and didn't think of anything of it. And then the idea came up of let's do something in golf, and we started playing golf very casually later in life. It ended up being a good niche to start a business in.
So Dale, first up, as a tradie, what were you? What was your job?
I had a glazing company. We used to do glass pool fencing, glass balustrade, glass staircases, all that sort of stuff.
Sean, what about you?
I was a plumber.
Right. Oh, so you were elbows deep into shit and poo and everything.
I tried to climb off the ground level pretty early, so I was a foreman or a site manager, so I didn't have to do that side of things.
Yep.
But I was in the plumbing trade.
So were you both jack of the work you were doing, or you were just really keen to do something else together?
Yeah, I think we were just really keen to do something. I wasn't that sick of it. It was a good job for me. I was working for myself, so, you could work, knock off at 2, 3 some days and go and play some golf. So it was really just something to do together, and we'd always chatted about it. And, one thing led to another, and we started something that ended up being quite successful.
I'd always wanted to have my own business. I thought it was going to be plumbing until I understood what that would mean, and I thought, I don't know if that's the right industry to have a business, which is how we'd start our chats on, there must be something to do online, or there's people out there making money online. How can we do that? And that's what kind of, I liked plumbing. I liked the building industry, but we were just looking for something else to do together.
Right. Are you happy to say how much money you chucked in each to start with?
I think the initial investment was $1,000 each.
I had to put mine on a credit card because I had no money. I had a year in London and I come back flat broke. So when we started, it was funded by the credit card.
So essentially $1,000 each. And what year was this?
2015, I think. Yep.
Started 2015.
Yeah.
So why golf and how did it progress?
I'd never played golf. I think I started this 6 months after swinging my first golf club, and I was terrible. I literally couldn't get the ball off the ground, and I had a whole set of clubs. And the couple of my mates that used to work for us installing the glass, often, the odd job will come up and be pulled out at the last minute, so we can't install it. Landscapers haven't finished. So we just started taking up golf after the footy career finished. Yeah, we just enjoyed it. It was a good way to, I just had a kid, a son, and it was a good way to get away from the wife and kids for a couple of hours. You know, it's a minimum 4 to 6 hour sort of event.
Absolutely. It's a big commitment.
It is, and that's what we're finding out now. We don't actually get to play as much as you would think.
So when you said you were pretty average,
Yeah.
what are we talking?
Oh, like well over 100 shooting around. So, yeah, it just had never really
Genuine
played it.
hackers.
Genuine hackers.
Yep.
Yeah, it just went from there, and we just got that bug, and that's what golf
Right.
does to you. You get that golf bug, and you want to keep going out and playing, and
Yep.
do the fake swings inside the house, and
And Sean, what about your golf game?
I played a little bit when I was about sort of 18 to 20, but when I say a little bit, I was terrible, couldn't get the ball off the ground. But with the tradies that I worked with, there was a few guys that would, on a RDO or whatever, would like to have a round of golf. So I had a set of clubs. I hadn't used them in over 10 years when we started this, so I hadn't played in a long time. And yeah, my game wasn't great either.
Do you know, so you guys make a living out of golf and yet you're describing yourself as just genuine hackers. So there would be people listening now going, I can really relate to being a hacker, but you guys have been able to make a living out of golf by being a hacker, which is brilliant.
yeah, I think that's what happens in golf. You grow up in golf, you try and become a golf pro, or you work the pro shop or something like that. And our outlook on golf is just very, very different to that. And I think that's just very relatable to the guy that likes to go out and have a hit.
As I've been looking at some of your stuff, and obviously Golf Gods on Instagram and golfgods.com.au, is it, or golfgods.com?
Golfgods.com.
Of course, you don't need the AU when you're going internationally, you boys. But when I've been looking at the stuff, I get a real Happy Gilmore vibe.
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
I mean, that movie and the fun that he brought, that's the attitude we sort of have probably in life as well, not just golf, but when we started playing golf, it didn't matter about if, you know, you've moved your ball under a tree or those
Your
little
footwear,
things.
sure.
It was more about being outside with the boys, having a few beers and enjoying yourself.
Yep.
And that's kind of what flows into the business now. It's just we try to have fun rather than be super serious with it.
Right. So, okay, you invest $1,000 each.
Yep.
And do what?
We bought 10 hats originally. Well, I think we bought 10 hats before the $1,000 investment. We didn't have a website. We had an Instagram page. We sold the 10 hats without a website, just through Instagram and DMing and send me a PayPal invoice and things like that.
What were the hats? Where'd you get them from? China?
Got them from China, never had done manufacturing, never done importing, never done any of that. So negotiated to make these 10 hats, 5 white, 5 black.
Yeah.
They were the most,
The black was all right.
the black hats were all right. They were terrible. Like, if you look at quality of hats these days,
Yeah,
we
they weren't great.
we look back at it now and go, what were we trying
We were
to do?
proud at the
So-
time. We're like, they're ours. You know, we
And
made
what,
them.
at a Golf Gods logo? Or
Golf Gods,
Logo.
big Golf Gods logo on
Yep.
the front, just pretty standard cotton hats.
What happened from the start, though, was that they were getting bought from people all over the world. So it wasn't, because it was on Instagram, it wasn't focused on Australia or in Adelaide. It was just on Instagram. So straight away we didn't know about importing, and we didn't know anything about sending something overseas and what that took, and tracking and customs and all of that. It was just like, oh,
We
someone
just
bought
took
it.
the order and worked it out after.
Yeah.
So 10 hats, but there's a bit more behind this because you said you had social media, you had an Instagram page. What was that? What were you doing on that? It wasn't just like, here's a black hat, here's a white hat, you can buy them, was it?
No, so we originally we started the social media page, the Instagram page, and it was just posting trick shots. It was the end of 2014. Instagram was really just about taking off, and it was trick shots, golf fails, funny stuff, you know, shenanigans on the course, all very, very different to what the Titleist, the TaylorMades, that, you know, all the other big brands were putting out there in terms of content. So what happened, we started posting other people. We didn't even make the content. They would send it in to us. We would repost it with their credit, and they were loving it. Oh, I've got a share on this page that's 5,000 followers, and then we got 10,000 followers. So we became that reposting page where people wanted to send us the content. We repost it, and then they can say, oh, I've been on Golf Gods and things like that. So that's how it sort of started.
Right.
We didn't tell anyone that we'd started the page. So I didn't tell my wife or girlfriend at the time, but no one. We just had it. Just Sean
So-
and I knew.
10,000 followers was our big reveal. So that I think it took, we haven't ever documented this now that we're trying to revisit it. I think it took nearly 6 months to get to that amount. So up until then, we would meet up at his place, and his now wife would be inside and we'd be out the back having a beer and we'd be talking about all these plans and we wouldn't tell her what we were talking about.
Oh, no.
Do
So
you
you got
remember,
men's
do you remember
business.
what, well, do you remember what she said?
Yeah.
So she eventually got sick of it and she's like, I know what you guys are up to. You're making gay porn. I know it. You two, look at you. You're out there secretive. And subsequently, when certain things happened after the business got launched and we told people, I've said to her occasionally, like, do you kind of wish it was that and not what
Yeah.
we're doing? Like, do you reckon that
You
would
could
have
be
been...
selling gay
This
porn
was before
type.
OnlyFans as well.
Well
Right.
before.
Imagine the sort of equipment you could be importing from China and selling to
I don't
the.
think anyone want to see us doing that. But
That would be quite remarkable.
So we kept it hidden from everyone. We
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of friends that were following the page and didn't know it was us and got to prank a few mates
Yeah, we
along
pranked
the
a
way
few mates.
before we
Well,
told people it was
you know
us.
the story about the prank probably better than I do.
And so we played golf together and we took a photo holding a Melbourne bitter can with our glove.
Mm.
And a mate of mine, Ronnie, messages me. He's like, these boys, or he tagged me on the post
Yeah.
and said, these boys know the right beer. And so we wrote back from the Golf Gods page and said, why don't you two have a round and the loser will donate a glove to? So him and I had a round. I lost, so I had to buy him a glove. So Dale and I gave him the glove. Next time we
Right.
saw him, we said, we didn't pay for shipping because it's our company. And he was just like,
He didn't know
Fuck off.
you.
Didn't know.
You were
No
the golf
way.
gods.
Yeah.
no way.
So
And
he's sort
we-
of pranking
he
our
made,
own
he made
friends.
us do a post with a particular hashtag to prove that we were the ones posting on the account. So.
Really? That was one of your mates.
Yeah.
it's one of the
so,
mates.
So 6 months, you've gone purely from just putting content online, and I suppose it's people throwing clubs and swearing when they hit a
Yep.
shit shot, all that sort of stuff,
Yep.
and
all
got
that.
to 10,000.
Yep.
And when did these black and white 10 hats come on board?
they were early. That was like March or February of that year. So we only had a couple of thousand followers when we
a couple of
first.
So they sold pretty much straight away because we're off about less than 10,000 followers. Reinvested those 10 hats. What we made from that, bought. That's I think when we invested the $1,000 each. So we bought 100 hats.
Yep.
I think that cost us about $3 per hat. I think.
Mm.
Went from there. Built our own website. Back before sort of online sort of e-commerce and all that was just sort of taking off. So once again, that was good timing. Put those hats on online, sold the 100 hats, and now we're buying 20,000 hats every couple of months. So it's gone from 10 hats to quite a few hats in the last few years.
When we built our first website, it was a Saturday morning at my house because we couldn't do it at his house, and I had a housemate, Stephanie, who we've been friends with for
Well,
years.
you couldn't do it at Dale's because your wife thinks you're making gay porn.
Yeah, so we had to be
So you
offside.
start doing something there, yeah.
So we're sitting there with our laptops and we think we're real like computer moguls building out this.
Well, one of the laptops, the keyboard didn't actually even work.
So I had
we
a
was
keyboard
really
plugged in
scrubbing it.
USB, and Stephanie comes out and she's half asleep. She's like, "What are you two losers doing?" I'm like, "We're playing World of Warcraft," and she's just like, "The fuck," and just walked off.
We're not gamers, by the way.
Not gamers at all. So she was, and she knew that. She's like, "What is going on?" So yeah,
It was all secret.
I'm just getting a feeling right now that this needs to be an Aussie movie. Your story. I just before we start going down, I need to stop for one moment. If we can turn this into an Aussie movie, like remember Mick Malloy and that the
Crackerjack.
bowling,
Yeah,
Crackerjack,
that was a
and
good movie.
the dish. We need Working Dog on this, or let's do it ourselves, right? So we make this movie of you blokes that become the golf gods who start off making gay porn, and then you're doing all these different things.
We never made any.
No.
Never. Not even a test.
Hey,
not even a test.
This is just a little bit of license that I'm taking when
of
we
course,
start.
Of course.
Right, I need to work it. Sean, who plays you in the movie?
Oh God, that's a tough question.
Who would play you?
Seth Rogen.
Dale, what about
We
you?
got, not, I don't have the curly hair, but
Yeah,
I'm
big lads.
not into movies at all. So
Pick it. Who's your favourite actor?
Is it Vin Diesel or is it?
no,
who plays,
it's,
Well, you've got the
it
Vin
is-
Diesel
yeah,
haircut.
Vin Diesel, yeah.
Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have Seth Rogen and Vin Diesel playing you blokes
Yeah.
on how you've gone from the backyard with a hacked up computer
Yeah.
to turn yourselves into this multi-million-dollar business. Right. So you got things moving. You start to get some more hats, and the hats are they just essentially got the Golf Gods logo, or you're starting
Yeah.
to be creative with them?
The first orders were still the just the normal Golf Gods logo. The hats quickly moved into what we call a parody of the Titleist logo. Probably pretty famous word titties on it. Looks exactly like the Titleist script.
Yep.
But it obviously wasn't.
For those
And
people that aren't golfing people, we're talking Titleist is probably the biggest brand ball on the
Yeah.
planet.
So we quickly made those, and I think we put them on Instagram, and it just blew up. Like we couldn't keep the hats in. Like literally, we'd put it up on at 5 o'clock at night. We'd be sold out by midnight. And
Really?
then we'd
And
take
all
it
around the world?
all around the world. So the first orders were coming through from Canada, US, literally barely Australian. So there's no postcodes on the internet. So people never knew where they were going to be sent from.
Yep.
They just liked the product. So that really, really took off us and probably put us on the map. The followers started coming in really, really quickly. We were posting content, 5 times a day, wake up at 6 a.m, post something, before we went to bed at 10:30, post something.
Are you still a plumber and a glazier at this point?
Yes.
Yep. So when we did that logo, we launched a couple of others at the same time. So we worked with a designer, and so I'm allowed to swear here, can't I?
Of course, mate, it's a podcast.
The Fuck Bogies logo on our putter cover is still the original Fuck Bogies logo, which was launched at the same time. So it's a bit of a legacy logo that we've had. And there's been different iterations of it throughout as well. But so there was a few others at the same time. And we just started to branch out of just our own logoed stuff and started creating other logos and tried to have a bit of fun with that as well.
So you've got these hats, titties.
Yep.
Taking off Titleist. Surely, does this grab the attention of Titleist and their lawyers?
Yeah, it did. It took a little while. We
How many
sold
do you
it.
reckon you'd sold before they come knocking?
I wouldn't want to speculate. It was a good couple
Oh, you
hundred.
can't because they might hear this, mightn't they?
No, they know everything already. But it was a good couple $100,000 worth of hats with the logo on it.
But then they sued us, and then in Victoria, then they sued us in Delaware, and it became a pretty drawn-out saga.
What happened was that they were sort of semi-okay from what I understand about the hats. They weren't too fussed. Later on, we bought out a parody bull of theirs, which was the Titties. Theirs is a Titleist Pro V1, number 1 ball in golf. We bought out the Titties Ho V1, the sluttiest ball in golf. So it's very different to theirs, but they obviously thought it was sort of like too close.
This is when we'd have to go home and say, do you wish it was gay porn that we were doing? Are you happy with us selling this?
So after we brought it then, they lost their shit. And the letters started coming in, trying to engage a few lawyers. That went on for probably 2 years.
Nearly 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
When the letters are coming in, for those 2 years, you still rolling the product out? Yeah.
Yep, still selling, still making new products, putting them on that logo on polos, anything we could literally
So
think
titties
of.
were everywhere?
Titties were everywhere, yep. And they were getting sold all around the world. And it was sort of, obviously, litigation cases and things is a stressful time, especially when you don't have a whole lot of money. It does, endless nights of no sleep and things like that can get to you. So,
So what are they saying? Is it cease and desist, or are they saying now we want some money for this?
They sued us in the, I think it was
the first
one
is
of the
a
courts.
cease and desist, then it's a lodged court proceedings. And at the end of the day, they just want you to stop. And most litigation cases don't see the final courtroom. They all get negotiated out. And it was just a thing of, how much are the lawyers costing us to how many titties hats can we sell? And there's a juggling act for a while that, we were selling more titties hats than the lawyers' bills. But then, when the second court case comes in America, the third comes in the UK, then it starts getting a bit serious. And, so we agreed to end up stopping that logo.
Yep.
Sold out our product and agreed mutually to cease selling that, which is fine. And then by that time, we were quite well established and, well, not well established, but it's sort of launched the brand. We started selling some other things which are probably down the same track.
Right, so give us an idea. So you've essentially parody on a lot of logos. So, for example, Hungry Jack's here or Burger King in America, you've got Bogey King.
Yep.
So you're making covers for your woods, your hats, shirts.
Polos, all that sort of stuff. And that's what it is. The parody is sort of, once again, coming lighthearted, bit of fun, not your everyday sort of golf products. And that was our motto right from day one, not your everyday golf brand. So if the product we were selling or the marketing we were doing fell in under that, not your everyday golf brand, it's, if it came under that stuff, Titleist or TaylorMade, we were doing that. That wasn't what we were going to do. It just didn't sort of fit. But not your everyday golf motto sort of fits our brand perfectly.
So you were very clear, you had your filter, and you knew exactly what you wanted to do. So real clarity in what you were producing.
Yep.
Which must have been important because, it's a pretty competitive market you're playing in.
And I think, like Dale said, we not your everyday golf brand, but it's like, and not even just taking the piss, but just having a bit of a laugh about things. That's just been our outlook on it, because that's how we treat our golf, because we're not real good. So there's no point getting too bent out of shape about our golf ability. And we're focused on good quality products, and we've worked really hard to get the quality really good. But in terms of the logos or the branding or the marketing, it's like, let's have fun with this. Let's enjoy it. Let's just enjoy what we do.
So you're doing some equipment as well. I've seen this putter.
Yep.
I was down at the showroom the other week. Dale, you gave
Had
me a
to go
little
with
tour.
it, didn't you?
I couldn't keep my hands off it. Can you describe it?
Dale designed it, so I'll let him talk about it.
Is it to scale to anyone?
Of course, it's big. That's why it's
Right.
called the
So
big.
what is it? Tell everyone what it is.
It's a putter shaped like a dick. Yeah.
And it's called the
Big Dick
The
putter.
big dick putter.
right. And how does the big dick putter go? It's getting sold out everywhere.
Well, yeah, once again, that's a real
Goes
good
around the
product of
world.
ours. You just don't want to hit the knob, that's then it goes a bit sideways and things like that. But once again,
true.
it comes back as a gag gift. Like we've moved on, and we try to target the gift space, which is Christmas time right now. If you're a young sort of middle-aged golfer, you're probably pretty hard to buy for. The golf gifts is something really easy. So yeah, any sort of buck show golf trips, boys golf trips, it's just perfect as a sort of
A lot of
gag
people
sort of
use it as
trophy.
the if you three putts. So say if there's four of us playing around, there's a dick putter. Whoever three putts has to use the dick putter,
Right.
and then it gets passed on. So
So
it's,
each
it's
hole?
just So then
Right.
if you've three putted, you've got it until someone else does.
Right. And you just keep passing the dick around.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Gay porn. It just keeps existing within this.
There's
body
a
of work.
horrible theme that continues to go. So, okay, the titties thing takes off, right? You guys are starting to make some good money.
Yep.
When do you quit your jobs? At what point?
I think it was about 18 months.
So you quit your job first and started working for me installing glass. So that was an easy one. We could go install a glass pool fence in the morning, come back and work on the golf stuff, pack some orders. And
It was just before the Black Friday would have been of 2016.
Yeah.
Because it was that summer that we were doing the pool fencing, and then
Yep.
had some
Yep.
products to pack finally and make some money out of.
Is there any staff at this point, or just you two?
not just us. Yep.
So you getting the stuff, you essentially getting the products designed, import them in,
Yep.
and then ship them to wherever they need to be.
Yep.
Geez, you must have learnt some info about logistics and planning and I don't know, all these different things. I can't even get my head around what you'd need to learn. And
It's
pick up.
little things like having the correct paperwork to bring over your shipment. If you don't have basically 4 correct bits of paper, you can't get your product through customs clearance. And then if you don't have that in time, you'll start getting storage fees. So all of a sudden your 100 hats could cost you double in storage fees than the actual cost of the goods. So knowing you've got to get the paper, and that took us a long time.
And part of that challenge was that if you bring over a small amount, it's different restrictions on the dollar value. So when we were getting samples, they come straight in.
Yeah.
Then you order a big shipment, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That'll just come in. And then it's like, oh, where's
no.
this? You're like,
Yeah,
what
this
do you mean?
paperwork, yeah, it's
Where's
custom
that?
fees.
And it's
And-
like,
Where are you learning this from? Is it all trial and error?
Trial and error.
Did you have some mentors helping you out? No
We
business?
didn't have any mentors at that stage that had done it before, or even in e-commerce. It was
they
literally just
figured it out and cracked on. And
just having a crack.
What a great story. So the titties thing goes big.
Yep.
Obviously, the Titleist law case, you don't end up having to pay out a whole heap of money or anything to them?
No payout, just an agreement that we would
Yep.
stop selling it and stop manufacturing it. By that stage, we'd had a number of other good products. Obviously, we did quickly touch on the glove that I don't think we covered.
Right. We haven't done it yet. The titties thing's huge. And then, so there's a lot of different logos, parody logos, aren't they? So do you want to just take us through some of those ones, the big main ones now?
The Cocaine Hooker logo, which is based off the Callaway.
Yeah, I noticed how, just for everyone here, Sean just looked and deferred to Dale because he's waiting for Dale to cough this up, thinking, well, I'd rather him have to say it to me. So you've
exactly what
got
happened.
another brand. This is a takeoff of Callaway.
Yep, take over Callaway, just says Cocaine Hookers on it. And
Right.
it basically replaced the titties hats that we were selling like pretty much overnight. We
Yep.
sort of knew, we can't sell the titties hats anymore. All good. We've got the Cocaine Hooker hats. We'll just put them in the same colours, and they're still one of our best-selling. It is our best-selling hat today.
Right.
The Cocaine Hooker logo is still our best-selling parody logo. We've done a number of others. We've done a Hack Daniels one, which was based off the Jack Daniels.
got a
They-
cease and desist.
Got
for
a
that,
cease and
so we don't
desist
do
for that
anymore.
one. We
Right.
don't do that one anymore. We did a Callaway-sted hat, which was a parody off Callaway.
Yep.
They got a cease and desist for that one, so
Don't
we
do that
don't sell that one anymore. We've obviously got the Burger King. We've got the Mulligan, which is off Marlboro, the cigarette logo.
Yep. No cease and desist there yet?
No, I
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, look,
Probably all good over here.
right, so you've essentially got your key logos now.
Yep.
You produce them in all the different types of equipment. Now, there's this glove. You do gloves. And I looked, and what I loved about your gloves is obviously you get your stock standard golf glove, but I looked at them. Some of them you've got like skeleton hands.
Yep.
Another one you've got some marijuana leaves. What do you call it?
Devil's
Devil's lettuce.
The
Yep.
devil's lettuce,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. I love it. So they're all edgy and quirky.
Yep.
But there's one particular glove. Now, this would be the biggest selling item you've had, is it?
This is the number one selling item we've
Now,
got. Yeah.
tell us about the idea of how this glove came apart.
So it was my son's first birthday. As every kid's first birthday, the parents get absolutely lit, and we were chatting away. Everyone's there, and I think there was probably 4 or 5 mates still around, drinking champagne out of the bottle, wrestling each other on the grass.
Yeah.
And one of my mates comes up and says, "You guys just need to do this glove. They do it in mountain biking. It's a shock glove, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink glove." And we just looked at each other and said, "That's $1 million idea." It took us about 12 months to work through the process of how to print on leather and all of that.
There was an initial fear of backlash. We thought, is that too far for us? Like we'd pushed the boundaries, but we're like, is it too much? And then we just thought it's just good for the
Stuff it.
brand, and that was
We need to probably explain some things here for people listening in, because some of you probably went, I got it straight away when you describe it as.
2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Again, Sean is deferring to Dale to answer that question. Right? And Sean, you're sitting there giggling like a little 10-year-old boy, and it's still funny, isn't it?
It's still very funny.
So essentially, it's a white leather glove.
Yep.
But your index finger and your long finger
Yep.
are pink
Pink.
on the glove.
Yep.
And your little finger's brown.
Yep.
I'm
The
sure
bottom
anyone
of the
listening can start to use their imagination as to the referencing and so forth.
Neapolitana ice cream, whatever it's called.
Strawberry,
Yeah.
chocolate, and vanilla.
That's it.
Right. And it's called the Shocker glove.
Yeah.
The shock glove, yep.
This thing is enormous, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many items do you reckon you've moved? Like, could you even get close to estimating?
We've probably sold a couple $1 million worth in gloves. It's $1 million idea. And Amazon in America alone just every day orders coming in and orders coming in. We just can't keep it in stock. So we accidentally sold out on just before Black Friday this year, which is our busiest time of the year.
Yep.
Our number one product sells out. We were filthy. Yeah, so it's just hard to keep in stock. So it goes in and out of stock. But when it's
That's very appropriate that it goes in and out, given the nature of
And
the
we were
glove.
filthy about it.
And you were filthy. You bloke, seriously. So, essentially, so you and your mates sit around, drink beers, have fun,
Yep.
come up with really quirky, crazy ideas, implement them,
Yep.
and it's become amazingly successful. Is that essentially what's happened?
Yeah, I think
Exactly.
the Hovey one was a great example of us. Few beers in after work, we need to do a golf ball. We need to go, and it just kind of flowed, and it was just like, oh my god, I can't believe we
The
haven't
more
even
beers
done
we
that
drunk, the
yet.
better ideas we come up with.
Yeah.
Now, this glove, for example, you could be down at a very nice golf club like
Yep.
your Royal Adelaide here in Adelaide, or Royal Melbourne, or
Yep.
Kingston Heath in
Mhm.
Victoria. You could walk around with this glove and play, and probably no one would even notice.
It's the beauty of a glove is that it's no one
Inconspicuous.
knows what people have on their hand. It's not that big a deal, so it's quite a. Your group might know if you show them,
Yeah.
but even then, they're probably not going to know unless you make a point of it.
Have you actually had a hit somewhere and seen people like wearing your gear or your gloves and all of that just by pure coincidence?
Yeah.
We had I think we were playing the executive course at West Beach, like a little 15-hole goat track, average hackers course. And we said before anything, imagine, we saw a couple of little kids coming up. I was like, imagine one day we see those guys walking up and they've got Golf Gods gear on. And I remember saying that to you, and it's sort of like, it won't ever happen, whatever. And then when we started, we've done a few events in America, and you're walking around PGA events in America, Arizona, and you've got guys wearing hats, polos, all our stuff, like left, right, and centre.
We when we went to the Australian Open in might have been 2016, we saw guys wearing our hats, and we were just like, holy
Yeah,
shit!
that's a Golf Gods hat.
Yeah, they bought that off us. And
What was the thought? What did you
it
think?
was a bit like surreal that
Yeah.
these guys are literally wearing it in public.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even when you go to over America and there, it's like you want to go over and hug them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
it's
one of
exciting.
us. Thanks for
Yeah.
repping it, and they love it as well. Like, yeah, you don't often get to meet the brand owners of the stuff you're wearing.
Absolutely. And so a lot of people in America, they have no idea this is coming out of suburban Adelaide, like Edwardstown, where
No,
you
Nah, no
Warehouses?
idea. We've just opened up a showroom in Edwardstown, so anyone that's listening wants to come down and say good day, come have a beer.
Quote sodas and you might be able to do a discount for you. or
That's
something.
it. I'll
Nothing
tell you,
confirmed yet. Nothing confirmed.
there's these gloves, guys. Now, there's a white glove. And
Recommended. He recommends it.
when was the first time you saw someone wearing your gear? Can you remember the moment?
Was it World Cup of Golf in,
World Cup in Melbourne.
that we went to?
Yeah.
2016, I think it
Mm.
was.
So it wasn't that long. You know, we'd only been selling probably 12
17
months.
maybe.
Merch for probably 12 months. But yeah, it is a strange moment, you know, to have, you know, walk around a golf course and people
It never
wearing
gets
it.
old. It's always,
No.
we have a friend will see someone and
Take
take a photo and
photos
send it
or-
to us. Look, someone on the course wearing a pole. It's like, how cool is that? Like, it never gets old.
You get that buzz
Yeah.
every time you see it.
Definitely. Yep.
So handicaps, roughly, what do you do?
My handicap's 18.
Yeah, and what about usually?
I don't know if I want to reveal that. I've been stitched up by my golf club.
Yeah.
I'm 25, but
Right.
I didn't know that they don't count social rounds. So I've had 4 decent social rounds this year, which would bring my handicap down. But my course make me pay to go in the comp
Right.
to count my
handicap
score.
down.
So
Fair
I'm
point.
25, but I'm
Understand.
better than that.
It's, of course you are, like all golfers. One of the things I saw the content on your site was, because, you know, you do the whole thing of, your porn star name is the name of your first pet and the street you lived in.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm Gigi Prentice, right? what would yours be?
I'm Curly Bella.
Hang on.
So your first pet and the first street you lived on.
Yeah, so I'm Sky Hume.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's
That
all right.
actually
Sounds
legitimately
like-
sounds like a porn star, but a female one.
Gay porn, no.
Well, correct. Okay, we're here again. But I saw one of the memes on your content, and it said your shit golf name is the Christian name you were given and your family name.
Yeah.
And I went, that is perfect. That is your shit golf name, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because essentially, it was your shit golf
Guilty
name.
as charged, yeah.
Absolutely. I think that
Yeah.
is perfect. It's almost better that you blokes don't play off single figures, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
we just
won't fit
don't
your
actually
brand.
get to play.
And we brought an out of the box thinking to golf because we didn't grow up in it. We knew minimal of the nuances of being a part of a golf course. I got yelled at in a course for having my hat on. I had no idea why I was getting yelled at.
In the clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just an older lady was just yelling at me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Blew up at him.
I've just
Yeah,
paid for
it's
2 rounds. We literally had membership forms of the comments, so which course it was, but we're looking at being a member there. We're buying a couple of beers and a schnitzel each, and I'm just getting abused. And I'm like, what's going on? And then
She might have thought that you had the titties. Wasn't the titties?
Probably
Go and
was
get
at
that
that
on.
might have been. Unrelated why she was yelling at me. The bartender said, mate, take your hat off. And I'm just like, is this all because, is that really, I just got yelled at by another adult for wearing a hat? So,
There are many golfers listening to this going, come on, mate, don't you know the etiquette?
well,
But
and
I
I
did
do
the same
now.
thing.
I do now, but
walked into a golf club earlier in the year and we're all sitting down after a golf day and I'm wearing my hat and they go, oh, get your hat off. And I went, oh, God, sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot all about it.
Yeah.
Because,
so those little things, we just didn't grow up with them. So we were footballers and cricketers. That's what our background was.
Yep.
So it was more the larrikin vibe that we kind of bring to the brand or bring to golf, I think. And that's, so a lot of people we've had a lot of golfers say, oh, I wish I thought of something like that. But it's like, they probably wouldn't have because they're so used to the straight of
Straight,
golf
yeah.
that
Yep.
they just don't
Yep.
get the opportunity to see it from the outside the way
Yeah.
we probably did.
and I'd imagine because Americans love Aussies.
Yep.
And even the fact that probably many of them don't know they're buying an Australian, they're buying from an Australian company. I think that whole taking the piss notion of our type of culture
Yep.
is coming through in your
Yep.
product. So
Yep.
they probably don't even realise that it's Australian sort of influence, but it is Australian influence, so it wouldn't be
Yep.
titties and cocaine and hookers and Bogey King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and when we go to America and we meet the people that we've interacted
Mm.
with, and then it's just such a novelty because they're like, "My God, Aussies,
You
you
go,
guys are so fun, or you're
Yeah.
so funny," and we're like, "Oh, we're
We're
just
just normal dudes.
a couple of Aussie blokes that
Have a
weren't that
beer.
funny back home." But
So you've got some traditional type polos like you're wearing now, and this is on the video on Spotify and YouTube and so forth. So you've got some pretty traditional type stuff.
Yep.
But then a lot of your shirts are your John Daly style, loud,
Yep.
colourful, lots of sort of activity on them.
Yeah, we call them our party polo range. And that's sort of what came into that, not your everyday golf brand. Every other golf brand will be stripes, block colours, whatever. And what we released was the party polos, the fluorescent colours, the flamingos, the toucans, the anything that's super, super loud. And then in America, that was really, really taking off at that stage where, the scramble, the charity events, they would buy 4 for their team and they would all wear it. And it's been pretty popular over there, for probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, at least.
And now sort of in the last sort of 2 years, obviously COVID's done massive things for golf in Australia. In the last sort of 2 years, it's becoming really quite acceptable in Australia.
Yep.
And we would obviously wear our stuff, making content, go down to Glenelg and start playing and shoot some content and wear these bright, and everyone will come up and speak to you. It's a conversation starter.
Yep.
They'll say stuff like, did you lose a bet? Do they make them for men? And they'll walk another hole to come over and say something to, just because it's different. They don't really see it, especially the older generation in golf in Australia. So, yeah, that's really, really just taken off. And Australia's only just starting to get around it now.
I think occasionally people feel like they almost like want to have a crack at you, but then because we just laugh about, it's just a fun pie. And they're like, oh, cool, okay. You guys are all right.
Guys.
It's all good.
Over the past couple of weeks, as I've sort of discovered, what you guys are doing, I've talked to a few friends about it and that. And the one thing that everyone goes, how good is coming up with an idea and then living your dream and being able to do it, and particularly with a mate, so you can actually share that. It's just a genuinely remarkable story. And I started thinking, going, what can I do? What can I create? Because you guys have essentially now created a really great future for yourselves. You're having fun at work. You're having beers to get stimulated and then coming up with these amazing ideas. Like it's a pretty remarkable story.
Yeah, absolutely. And we probably wouldn't have ever done it on our own. And that's what probably some people have got to realise when you've got an idea, if you can get a mate involved or someone else, it's just someone you can lean on. And there were plenty of times early when I'd be like, I'm over this is stupid, I'm not doing this anymore. But he would be driven and focused and do it. And vice versa. Sometimes he'd be like, I can't be bothered posting this weekend on Instagram or whatever. But I would be still in and around it. So it sort of played off one another to really drive it.
How important was that consistency, like you're saying,
That's
to
the
post?
number one
We
thing.
never stopped. The longest period we had without posting, we think it was like 20 hours. We're at Marion Bay at a buck show and had no internet reception. And then one of our mates had a phone that could get it, and we
Telstra.
tethered to him to do a post. And it was about 20 hours. And that was, other than flying when we were in transit to the US, that was the longest we'd ever gone of just not posting.
So we'd post 5 times a day, 6 in the
Every day.
morning, all the way through to 10, 11 at night,
Yep.
every single day. I think I haven't last yet, but it's probably 15, 17,000 posts on our Instagram.
And are these are
Never
not just,
a day we've missed.
and it's content. It's not just essentially like just a polo shirt or something. It's
No.
actually good, fun,
Yeah.
engaging
It's
stuff.
a lot of the fun video stuff, but Instagram really sort of previously in the last sort of 2 years, the memes, the sort of a photo with a caption at the top, that really, really took off. So we were reposting stuff. It wasn't all our own created content, but that's what people liked about the page. They could send us stuff in the DMs and say, hey, post this funny thing, and they would post it, and then they'd share it between all their mates, and they just really enjoyed it. So
I've got my phone out now and I'm just going into Instagram. I'm looking at the Golf Gods here. So followers, 581,000, 14.3 thousand posts.
Yep.
There you go.
And Sean and I were doing nearly every single one of those posts. It's only just recently that we've got more staff to be able to do the posts, someone else do the posts.
Right.
So that's the commitment. And, when you say, I want to build a social media page, I want to get followers, try and post 10,000. There's the glove.
Just as you're talking, I've looked at the Shocker glove and it's quite remarkable.
Go check it out. golfgods.com.
You need to go look at, golfgods.com or look on the Instagram because it's such a simple idea, but wonderfully clever.
Yeah.
What else in terms of ideas and any other sort of products do you sort of have a little think tank moment, or is it just you get inspired when you're chatting about it?
Yeah, I think it's just randomly getting inspired after a couple of beers. That's when we do our best work. And, we don't sort of push it. We like to, come up with new ideas all the time, but, it's just that consistency of being together, working together, chatting together, and it only takes one little idea. And now we've got the structures in place to basically manufacture anything out of China we want very, very quickly. We've got a team in China. I can WhatsApp my girl and say, I want this, I want to make that. We could have a sample within 5 to 7 days. Check it out. Yep, let's manufacture that, and we're on.
So give us a bit of an idea. We're 7 years in now. You got 500,000 followers there. Are you happy to share what sort of money you're turning over ballpark a year?
Roughly about 6 million. So it's gone from
Jeez.
$1,000 each to $6 million a year pretty quickly.
In that amount of time. And obviously you have everything here, but you're thinking about a warehouse in
Yeah.
America.
Pre-COVID, we were in talks to set that up, and we were holding events over there, and that was
And what sort of events, when you're talking events,
we'd
what's a
hire
golf
course,
gods event?
sell out 160 tickets or 140 tickets. We'd keep a section for sort of influencers and
Had people like Paige Beranek, you've probably seen her on every news article going around.
Aaron Hicks from the New York Yankees. So
Right.
different people that are into golf.
Yep.
And like for anyone, golf's it's almost a secondary sport for so many sports people. So it was easy to get professional sports people that were
So you're
into
essentially
golf.
creating corporate golf days or that sort of
we were
idea.
target, but our vibe on it was just like it's a corporate day the way we know
We'd
them
have-
in Australia, but it's just a day of
Yeah, so we'd target our events would be the week of a PGA event in that town. So our flagship event was a Waste Management Open. If you don't know that, it's the party hole, 200,000.
It's at Arizona, isn't it?
Yep.
Arizona, Scottsdale.
It's the one time where you're actually allowed to throw golf etiquette out.
Yep.
People are drinking in the crowd, throwing their cups on there, just loud, whatever.
perfect event. for us.
200,000 people around basically 3 holes of golf, hole 16, 17 and 18. So we would hold our event on the Tuesday leading in, and everyone was coming into town looking for tee times to play. So an event like that was perfect. You know, you could see some Instagram influencer, you could see a sports person and things like that. And we'd have tequila stations, beer stations, Mexican food. We'd have the works there. And it wasn't about playing or winning. It was about having a good time.
And we still like, so Cobra Puma were the head sponsor. We had sponsorship from local alcohol brands and like vodka and that as well. So it was a really local or that particular area. We had from Cobra Puma as the head sponsor to lots of local businesses involved and sell them out and just basically have a
they
party.
would just sell out,
Just on that, it's probably time that, hang on, I'll just crack some more beers.
Yeah.
Just have another little West End. I've never done a podcast yet with beers.
Beautiful.
We normally.
What do you think?
I like it. I think it's got some merit.
Especially when the major sponsor is one of the best beers going around, Adelaide-based beer.
Old school.
Yeah.
Right, so time for another West End. We're putting ads in now. They'll be very happy about this. We're putting our own in. So now you're saying you're turning over near 6 million, that sort of thing. How many staff have you got?
Casual and full-time staff, I think there's around 13 going around now. So we've got majority based in Adelaide. We've got one in China who does all our purchasing, works solely for us. Got one in the Philippines. We had 2. We've sort of gone down to 1 there that looks all of our customer service. So, they're very, very good. They'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, start doing customer service while we're still sleeping. So we wake up and a lot of the customer service have already been answered to, especially with our a majority American client base, different time zones. So they would wake up and already the emails are full of inquiries or whatever. So that was sort of really good. And we've really concentrated on making sure our customer service is top notch, because that's what, people want to not feel that we've just taken their money and they don't hear anything from us. And so it's grown out. We've got a warehouse in Edwardstown. We've got casual staff, full-time staff, and now another showroom, another office about 100 metres down the road. So 2 facilities, and we have had a warehouse in Florida as well.
So not just self-made businessmen, or do you call yourself entrepreneurs?
Not really.
We just crack on. Like
We don't really put a name to it. We've never said, "Oh, you're the CEO of this company," or "You're that." We just get in and work. We've done a lot of it ourselves. It's only in the last sort of 12 months that we've really started employing staff. We just used to do everything. We used to sit up all night and pack orders, and I do all the design and all of that sort of stuff. So it was just all done by us.
Yeah.
Well, can I call you entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can.
We call it business. Well, you are because you've created what is now an international company with, I imagine, enormous amounts of growth. And once you, I suppose, crack that US market particularly, and I know you're big in Europe and all that as well, there must be so much potential to grow.
Although 90% of our stuff already does go overseas, the American market is still very untouched, whether it's wholesale, whether it's direct to consumer. Being based here, obviously the Americans love that Amazon thing where it's sort of next day, 2-day delivery.
Yep.
Obviously we can't offer that, but also they can't buy our products anywhere else. So it's the competition. If you want a soccer glove, you're going to come and buy it off us and be happy to wait 7 to 9 days to get the delivery.
Given you've sort of, done parodies of some of these other big brands, have you started to find anyone sort of trying to compete with you guys on the sort of level range, the fun side of golf that you're doing?
Yeah,
Any
you
knockoffs?
see it around a bit, and it's one of those things. It goes, it's probably
They don't seem to be touching the cocaine hooker hats or the two in the pink, the
no
dick
one wants
putter.
to go as hard at it as we do. Not that they should,
But it's the party polo, so you're seeing
Yeah.
more and more in America and in Australia. They pop up every day, so someone will see it and go, "Oh, I can make those, I can do that." But we're so far deep into the American stuff and what we're doing, we don't even
Yep.
care.
Yeah. Live Golf's coming here.
Yep.
What sort of opportunities is that? Because that's obviously going against the establishment, the convention of traditional PGA and all that sort of thing. And are there opportunities for you to do some stuff there, perhaps?
Yeah, we've been in conversations with them even before the Adelaide event was announced about, what if it comes to Australia, we want to, promote. And ultimately, it's about it's professional golf. So if PGA Tour board an event here, would be just as excited to try and do something that, even though they don't
the US.
do much. Well, they've never done any favours for us along the journey. But yeah, we hope that we're going to be keen to get down there and party. And
We'll do our events. Obviously, by that stage, we'll have the simulator at the warehouse, the showroom open, do a number of meet and greets, possibly with a couple of the guys that are in the live players that are on social media, and just take people down there, get around it, all wear party polos, a bit like the old Fanatics back in the day. Get out there and be loud and
Have
don't
fun.
have to be obnoxious and rude and disruptive, but
Yes.
just get out there and have a good time and just bring that younger group of people through golf and really enjoy it.
Get your shocker glove on and just get your fist up in the air and show people what you need. Projected wise, what are your sort of plans going forward now? You've talked about the potential of a warehouse in the US.
Yep.
I could imagine now that, you're a legitimate businessman and just self-educated businessman, which I find fantastic because you've done all the roles yourselves.
Yep.
What's next?
Definitely the warehouse in Arizona is our next thing. I think that will really take us to the next level. A lot of the e-commerce business side of things, we're talking about looking at conversion rates. So how many people are coming onto our site to how many people are converting. And we know that obviously with our longer shipping times that it can affect conversion rate. So being able to plonk our products in the US.
Conversion rate, you mean people searching and then fulfilling and
So
making an
people
order?
that
Is that what you
actually
mean?
come onto the website to
Yep.
then fulfill their
Yep.
complete their
Yep.
order.
So it's a bit of a metric in e-commerce that you judge your site on it.
Mhm.
One thing is getting traffic there.
Yep.
The next thing is converting them into a purchaser.
Yep.
And as Dale said, if we could offer that quick shipping in the US, which they get from
And you're
everything
thinking if
locally,
you added you turn around, you increase your conversion rate by 1%, it's big dollars.
Yep.
So, and it's
Yep.
not that hard. It's literally just getting stuff to them quicker.
Mhm.
A lot of our stuff is for particular events, birthday presents. So if you're a bit late on it and go, I've got an event on Friday, I want to go get a Golf Gods polo,
Yeah.
9-day delivery, it's too late. I'll just go buy one from somewhere
Yep.
else. So
Yes.
that's what we think. And obviously by doing that, we know that the total revenue will grow.
I'm stunned by this because I just think I love the fact that you guys have just come up with an idea. You've navigated your way through it. And you obviously said there were times when you just went, stuff this, we've had enough.
Yep.
What's been the biggest challenge for each of you going through all of this process?
Obviously, the
think-
court cases, like those sort of things, they do really weigh on you. So, don't go into parodies and that sort of stuff if you're not willing to do that. But really, for what we're doing it, we're best mates. We're doing it together. We hang out. We text each other all night. There's not too much that
it never
bothers
gets
us.
out of control where you could, and I suppose if you were on your own running a business, you could let something really grind you down and
Yeah.
get to a bad point. We're only ever a message away from one saying, this sucks, we need to sort this out, or why wasn't this done? Right, let's action it. And
someone
so-
might. I might not be onto something, and he might go, "Hey, have you done that?" Oh, yeah, I'll do it. Yep. And the same vice versa for him. You might, but if you do it on your own, you might go, there's this, and you let it lag, and all
Could
of a
get
sudden it's
overwhelming and-
overwhelmed.
Yep.
But having your best mate by your side, it doesn't, nothing really too phases us.
How far does the friendship go back?
We were both from Gawler.
Yep.
I went to Trinity. I just listened to the Travis Head podcast the other week. Same good bloke, his same area as us. We were probably about 15 or 16 when we sort of knew of each other.
Yep.
And then we didn't really start hanging out really.
18 to 19, we both moved to the south of the
South,
city from Gawler at the same
Yep.
time, separately for
Yeah.
separate
So
reasons.
Gawler, for those people that aren't familiar, when we're here in Adelaide, you're talking sort of just north of metro area, just before the Barossa.
Yep.
Yep. That's
So,
right. Yeah.
you're
So
sort of out of Metro.
well, that
where you
area,
grew
we,
up.
we literally, well, I lived in Edwardstown on the same street our office is now, so I moved out of Gawler to Edwardstown.
Right.
He was on Anzac Highway, so
Good street because there was a shooting there the other day.
that's right. Where
Just this week, there was
I was
some
just
drug
trying to
deal
sell
going
my
on,
house,
wasn't
and it
there?
cost me a couple of buyers. So
but because we moved that side of the city at the same time, we were playing footy
Playing the
together,
footy.
as in with amateur footy and that.
Yep.
And so yeah, pretty much all our 20s we hung out, and
Yep.
in our 30s we've been in
Kicking the
business.
footy where.
Centrals for a bit.
Yep.
He played a bit more than I did, and then
Kilburn.
Kilburn.
Oh yeah, the chicks
Yeah.
Yeah,
or the Knights.
they were the
but
Knights when I was
Yeah.
there.
The
They're
Kilburn
back to the
chicks,
now.
little
Then,
Chicago.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Kilburn.
And then
Greenacres.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
Wallaroo.
and then I've finished up at Wallaroo.
Yeah.
But,
not very successful footy careers. Well, for me personally, I was probably a touch better footballer than I am a golfer, but
But you guys are massive in the golf world. For those people that are listening here going, how good is this? Two mates got together, threw in a few grand, and they've been able to, well, you're living your dream, I imagine, aren't you?
Yep.
You're living
yeah,
your dream?
absolutely.
What's your advice to someone sitting back going, how could I do this? Yeah.
The first thing is have a crack. Literally, when I first started the Golf Gods Instagram page, it was having a chat with a guy that I used to work with, and he's probably kicking himself now because I said, I've got this idea. We start this page called Golf Gods. We do all the funny stuff with drinking, with all this, and he's my mate Nathan. He's like, Buddy Bear would be in for that. He'd be really good at that. And I'm like, yeah, he would be. So I left it there. I literally went home that night, started the page, started posting. He was in London. He came back. I think it was just before New Year's, and we were playing around a golf. I said, "Mate, I've got."
No,
something."
that wasn't how you pitched it. It was about 3:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And we were having a party, and he goes, "Mate, I've got this idea. I want you to get involved." And he explained it, and I was like, not just because of the state of the night it was, but also just I'm like, mate, I don't play golf. I don't even like it. I don't really like Instagram. I'm 100% in. Shook his hand and said, "Lock me in. I'm in, but you need to have lunch with me tomorrow and actually explain this properly because I don't know what you're talking about." But I'm keen because
Yeah.
come back from London broke, and I'm like, I'm willing to
Yeah,
do
so
whatever.
that's the thing. If you've got an idea, you think you want to do something, just operate and just do it. And that's what I learned. That you progress. Oh, I'd like to do that. I would like to do that. And if you just never do it, it's never going to happen. And then be consistent at doing it. And that's what got us to where we are today, but just got us to a point where we could actually grow something out of it. It was the consistent of posting. It was just, taking that step forward and just really, if you got an idea, just have a crack.
I've got a million ideas now. I'm trying to think how I can do it. I think I need the advice from you guys
Well,
to work.
there's-
I'm trying to make this podcast grow as well because,
But that actively by doing it, that's the start because, an idea, and you can talk about an idea as much as you want. You can have as many beers and, we could build this and we can do that if we get this. But until you've actually either got a customer or you've got a product or you've got something there that's real, it's still just an idea. So you've just got to get it going, get it happening and see what happens from it.
So you've talked about obviously a warehouse in Arizona, and I imagine how regularly you guys find to the US to run the type of events that you're running.
So pre-COVID, we were due to run 4 events. So we had Scottsdale, Arizona, California, Florida, and Vegas, all tied in with PGA events. Obviously, COVID hit Feb 21.
We're on our way home.
We're
from
on our way
Arizona.
home, and everyone's going through LAX, and all these people started wearing masks. And we're like, "What the hell's going on?" My wife says, "Have you heard about this virus?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's all right. It's all good." And then came home and
Getting into Sydney and seeing a dedicated line saying if you've been to China that way, and everyone in hazmat suits was like, that's a bit more than just a normal common
So we
cold.
got back. We did our event this year in Arizona. We had it all planned, had all ready to go, and the Omicron variant sort of hit. It was just as things were about to. We thought, we were going to be able to get on a plane and go to America. We couldn't go back over there, so we had some mates just run that event for us, and we have left it. We were going to do it this year, but in Scottsdale we've got the Super Bowl that same weekend, so you've got Waste Management, Super Bowl on that Sunday, and accommodation's just literally gone from $3,000 for 9 days to $40,000 for things. So we're sort of not going to do that one in February, but we will get to California in May, and then hope the Florida and Vegas ones later next year.
So 40 grand for your accommodation. You got to sell a fair few shocker gloves and dick putters to make
Too
that,
many.
don't you?
It's too many.
It's too many, We'd already been there a few times, so we're but we're happy to go. The Waste Management event is next level. If you're a golfer and want to bucket list a golf event, I recommend
It's a lot of
anyone
fun.
going there. Yeah.
What's the best thing about this big journey so far, and I feel like I'm on some stupid reality show using a wanker word like journey, but it is a journey, isn't it, that you've been on? What's been the best part?
I
Sean?
like having just control over what we do. It was probably the one thing in construction I got sort of sick of was you sort of you see something's happening on site and then it's not up to you and what do you know, you're just a plumber and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that we can just control the products we sell, the processes, having that control is what I'll enjoy about it.
Yep.
At least we're only accountable to each other rather than, oh, this would be great if the boss approved it or if something else like that kind of happens. So
Yeah, it's probably the same for me. We can do whatever we want, whether it's throw a big party like Golf Gods Invitational like we did, and literally all we did was throw a big party and play golf with a whole heap of friends. It's just that freedom to, sell a dick putter or sell a hat with cocaine and hookers written on it. There's nothing that we really won't go down now. Type thing, so.
Nothing you won't go down now. Well, you were filthy before. I don't know what's going on with you, Blake. Seriously. Who are some of the biggest fans of your gear from around the world? Because I know down at your warehouse there's some, some jerseys and all that up there, merchandise from some big stars.
One of the best ones was Kevin Peterson. I think he was really into it back in the day. We'd send him stuff. Next thing he's wearing it everywhere. And
gave us some good shout outs with just organically just did it because he loved it, which was a lot of fun.
And
Kelly Slater, who
sent us photos wearing a hat randomly.
Yep.
We'd send them to him, but
without you knowing, you didn't send anything to him.
We sent it to him, but then he would just
see.
send a selfie wearing a hat.
Yeah,
because he loves his golf.
Yeah,
loves
he's
his
a really
golf.
good golfer.
That's the good thing about golf. It, like Sean said before, that it is like a second sort of sport for the professional athletes.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've had access to a lot of those guys, and when you've got a New York Yankee coming to your golf event, and then a few months later he's hitting home runs in the playoffs. Is that what you call it? The thing? Like, it is. Yeah, surreal.
Have you ran a Golf Gods big tournament in Adelaide yet?
We did run one before we started doing them in America. We ran one here at Flagstaff Hill, and it was just such hard work. The difference between the Australian golf courses, they're obviously membership driven and all of that, and where the Americans are privately owned, so they're all sort of set up for those events and happy to have you. The Australian courses are very hard to deal with, whether you've got to get it approved by the board to have a day off.
Flaggy was good. The event was good.
So we did that at Flagstaff
Hill. We wanted to do a follow-up at a different course, and we spoke to them. They said, we'll take that to the board, and the next board meeting's in 3 weeks. I'm like, we kind of want to launch it next week, like, because we just come up with stuff and like, let's do it. And, all right, wait for the board meeting. And then they have board meeting, it comes back, and like, they're happy with 8 of 12 points, but these are, and we're just like, you know what, this is just too hard. So then we went to America and it was easier.
We were doing it from our office in Edwardstown, did the whole thing, organised absolutely everything from Edwardstown. It was easier to do it.
We had a guy that we co-hosted it with in America, so he worked with us and he was the on-the-ground guy.
Yeah.
But for us to put that together from here was easier than, in all aspects, sponsorship, players, courses, approvals, food. It was just easier.
So much easier to do that out of here over there than it would be to do a course 20 minutes away from where you were sitting.
Yep.
And they sell out quicker. There's obviously so many more people over there, but they just get it around it. And if we did another one here, I no doubt would sell it out and things like that. But just trying to work with the courses can be difficult.
Is there one pie in the sky idea, or is there one thing that you're just sitting above that you go, we really want to be able to do this, whether it's perhaps an item or whether it's an event or an activity or something that you just really like your gold standard
after
idea?
the US warehouse / distribution point, probably having one in Amsterdam. It's just the hub of Europe.
Hub.
Some of our products fit the area.
Yep.
Devil's lettuce.
Be a big seller, isn't it?
That is a big
the
seller.
place of Europe, that'd be kind of like, wow. The American thing was happening before COVID, and sure we can just get that going again. But Europe, to sell direct to European customers, they have different import taxes, and there's a lot more barriers for customers there. So to have a hub where we could really service that whole region would be pretty epic.
So you said about 90% of your gear goes overseas. Have you got sort of rough breakdowns of what's going where? What percentages?
Probably about 70% is going to the US, and then it's sort of Canada or Australia's probably comes in after that, and then UK, Canada sort of the same. Then New Zealand, but I think we've sold to just over 100 and something countries this year. So
Pre-COVID, it was more. COVID,
Yeah.
there's been some restrictions still with different countries.
like
on
even
where
like
you can ship
Finland,
to.
that had restrictions to ship Australia Post to ship to. Literally, we could turn Finland on tonight, the shipping is available, and we would have 10 orders tomorrow. South
Right.
Africa's the same. They are sitting there on our site waiting to be able to buy it.
Yep.
And
Just haven't been able to send it to them.
sometimes something would happen and we'd accidentally have turned Finland on, and like, warehouse guys, we got 10 orders from Finland overnight. It's like, fuck, we've got to turn that off again. But yeah, it's strange.
Yeah.
Well, boys, I can just say congratulations because I think what you've done is brilliant. And like I said, it's an Australian movie waiting to be made. And I don't think it should be Vin Diesel and who you and Seth Rogen. We've got to find some Aussie blokes that can play you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to think a bit better about.
I
an
think you
Aussie
could
bloke.
actually play yourselves.
Yeah, I think I'll
Seriously, it is just a brilliant success story. And I think for anyone listening there, you know, your best advice was just go and have a crack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go
Definitely.
and do something. Learn on the way.
Yep.
So essentially, you're self-made and you're self-taught.
Yep.
Brilliant, boys. I think it's just, yeah, I'm actually taken aback because I just think it's so remarkable and it's just so wonderful because you hear people bitching and whinging about how much they hate their jobs or my
Yeah.
life's mundane.
Yep.
And you guys have gone and had a crack at it and you can actually determine your future. But not only that, have some real fun and share it with your mate. I reckon is just extraordinary. Dale, and also Sean, thank you so much for joining us. Now, you guys are obviously Merch Kings. Now, we're just navigating our way through this whole
Yep.
world of podcasts and so forth. So we have some merch as
Good.
well.
Thank
I'm a
you.
bit embarrassed because we're out of hoodies, so I've got to get some new ones made for
That's
you.
all right.
But we've got these hats, right? So we've got the soda room hats, and
Love it.
importantly, we've got the stubby holders that are sponsored by West End. So I should have given you them at the start so you can put your West End beer that you're enjoying. But I know you guys know your gear as well, so
Quality hat.
it's not too bad. We think, and it's got a nice shape. You know, when you get a good shaped hat, you'll
That's
always
very
wear
important. Very important.
it. So we've tried to make sure that they're pretty good. But guys, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. I wish
Thanks
you
for
nothing
having
but the best of luck. And it is now one of my bucket list items in my life is to go to Scottsdale
Yeah.
and play in a tournament with you
Next
guys.
year with us.
Yeah,
or not
definitely.
next year, the year after.
Yeah.
You can come
It'd
out
be
to
brilliant.
play our
Yeah.
event.
Oh, mate, I'll be wearing my shocker glove. I'll be swinging my dick putter around left, right, and centre.
You'll have a ball then.
Love
It'll be good.
Good on you, boys.
Thanks,
for having
mate.
us.
Cheers.
Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Now, if you love what you just heard, please subscribe to the Soda Room podcast. You could write a review. You can watch the show on YouTube and share it with your buddies. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, drop us a line, info@thesodaroom.com. Catch you soon.